Hello everyone, K Kim here from the Traders Club, and today is December 23rd. Market has been open, let's see here, 10-3, 11-3, about 3 hours and a half. So today I'd like to present to you a Christmas special edition video here. Hope you guys are enjoying your week with your family and friends. The year is wrapping up here. Just how many more trading sessions do we have tomorrow? I think we have half day, Christmas Eve. So just about a week, just about 5 days or so, and the market seems to continue to really exasperate short-term traders, right? This is unprecedented. I wanna let you guys know what we are dealing with just looking at last few weeks here. Let me just explain this, how volatile and how unprecedented it was, right? As you can see, we've been talking about this. I've been putting on my videos. I've been, tweeting out with charts and with the daily chart sentiment, hourly chart sentiment. And here's what we happened here. When this thing came down, right? Okay, this thing started coming down pretty fast. And then we gapped down here, right here. And some might call it even a breakaway gap. Hey, this thing's gonna go much lower. And obviously you can't just say stuff like that without substantiation from the price section. We must respect the price section. What does that mean? Well, it means that we've been continuing to cultivate these higher lows. So unless these lows are taken out, we can't just start to assume that it's just gonna go to 184. We can't say that because we do have to give benefit of doubt to the buyers. And you guys, if you've been following me and if you've been listening to my intermediate term analysis, you guys understand that fact that we had a higher high here. We got a higher low there. Again, looking at an intermediate term, looking at more of a minor term perspective, we have been cultivating some lower highs. So this is what we have to understand. Intermediate term, though, we do have cultivation of what? Uptrend. In the minor term, though, what do we have? We have certain type of bearish sentiment here. So now we understand the perspective. We've got kind of a bigger wave, intermediate term, where we're seeing some bullish activity. Kind of a smaller wave. What we're seeing is we're seeing a little bit of a bearish activity. You got that, right? But what was really fascinating to me is that we gapped down here and we threw this hammer bullish candle and we gapped above this gap area. What does that mean? We have formed an island reversal. Okay, island reversal is probably one of the strongest candlestick, more like a minor term reversal pattern, right? Strongest minor term reversal pattern. I'm not talking about like head and shoulders. I'm not talking about double bottoms. I'm not talking about like more of a bigger term chart pattern. I'm talking about like a quick turnaround. As far as a quick turnaround is concerned, island reversal, especially with hammer, is probably one of the strongest one. Looking at, again, talking about minor term reversal. And so we saw 2 days of bullish run, and then we threw what? Bearish engulfing. And then what happened? We gapped down back to back in this vicinity. What that means is we have now nullified bullish island reversal and we have created a bearish island reversal. Can you see that? This became an island now. You see there's a gap down here, or gap up there, gap down. That became an island. So now, not only we had a bearish engulfing right on the resistance level, we also had an island reversal. Again, I just said that it is one of the strongest form. And then we threw another bearish day below this low right here. This is the thing, is that so many people are obsessive with just these, precise level of these supports. It's not the precise level that is important. It is the vicinity. It's the level. That's why I've been, tweeting out on StockTwits and Twitter these charts with the Fibonacci on it, right? These are the levels that you look for your support. And what happened? We found precisely at the 38.2% retracement from the top, right? That's a 38.2% retracement. This is 0%. This is 100%. We came down to first level, what I call Fibonacci retracement zone, also known as a FRZ. We came down to first level of our FRZ, right? Yes, we got slightly below this support, but we have to give benefit of that. Also, we had this support level, potential support level, obviously, because there's a support here and here, right? So this is where we found, and we threw a bullish Harami pattern just 2 days ago, right? Bullish Harami with what? With that hammer-like candle. This was a hammer right there. This is another hammer. And then we saw follow through, which is a good sign. And then we had another gap up today. This is unprecedented. I've never seen this. I go back and I do a lot of chart studying, like historical data. I really think, if I'm wrong, please somebody let me know. I think it's the first time, you know, as far as the charts are concerned, as far as the chart was available for us to study, to see that we got an island reversal right here. This was island, right? Bullish island reversal, right? And then that got completely nullified with the by pressing or by, you know, constituting bearish island reversal because it gapped down. And then we throw another island reversal. Obviously, market is not finished yet. Market is not, you know, it's still trading. So I guess obviously we'd have to see, because if this thing gets filled, that island reversal is no longer. But if this thing were to continue higher, this will be then unprecedented event that we're seeing. We're being part of history here, guys. I don't know if you guys care about it too much, but looking at this hourly chart here, actually I look at 65-minute chart. Look at this 65-minute chart, right? Gap, 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 gap. We got island here. We got island here. We got island here. We got 3 islands happen in just in the period of 2 weeks. It's fascinating to me. It is amazing that we're seeing this kind of volatility. This is what just irritating heck out of the bears, because, you know, they are just getting chopped out. It's irritating short-term buyers. They're getting slaughtered here, just up and down. They want to go long here. They got stopped out. They want to go short here. They got stopped out, and they don't know what to do here, right? And so this is environment for, you know, people who have patience. This is environment who understands the market. That market is going to do its shenanigan. So stick with the big picture, understand the intermediate, understand the primary term, then I think you can survive this market here. And looking at the daily chart on this S&P 500, obviously we're potentially be cultivating this uptrend support here. We do have a 3 days of bullish run, which is good. So we want to see today to kind of sustain this gap. That's what we want to see. Obviously, it's midday. Towards the end of the day, it doesn't matter what kind of candle we're closing with. We just want to sustain this gap, just like this day right here. You see that gap? And I think I did a video on that day. So I want to make sure this gap is sustained, right? And we threw a little bit of shooting star, but then as far as the gap was sustained, we were able to continue higher. We threw that and it came back down, and then now we're going back up. So what do we need to do? So what we need to see, obviously 208. This is a first level we need to clear. If you're a buyer here, or if you're looking for the market to continuing towards the end of the year, and we only got 5 days, towards next year, what we want to see is we want to see 208 getting clear by the buyers, or claiming by the bulls here. If we can do that, that will constitute double bottom reversal. Also, that double bottom is constituted or formed with a double island. This is amazing. Again, I've never seen this happening. This is a crazy pattern that we're seeing here. We're seeing double bottom, and both bottoms are formed with islands. It is, again, I've never ever seen that happening, and that's crazy shenanigan. And again, we have this potential downturn resistance here. It's supposed to be about 207 or so. So if we can get above, again, going back to like hourly chart here, we can get back above about 208 or so. That will confirm double bottom reversal, and we may continue again. Double bottom there, form with the island. So if this thing confirms above 208, I have a feeling that, I have reasons to believe that the market will continuing higher and potentially make new all-time highs going into next year, right? But again, so let's understand the perspective. Do we have some sort of downtrend happening here in the minor term? Yes. Yes, we got lower highs. So as of today, I would have to say the minor term sentiment on the S&P 500 is neutral to bearish. I know we've seen a lot of you know, a lot of we've last 3 days we've seen some buying force there, but so we're getting into a bit of a neutral to bearish sentiment for the fact that we've been cultivating lower highs, which means, you know, we may get up here, and if this thing falls back, then we may continue in that minor term bearish sentiment. However, if we get above 208 and reclaim this high, and that no longer becomes a lower high any longer, and then creates that higher low in the minor term, this is where we will say that I would say the minor term sentiment is back bullish. Just like I said earlier, the intermediate term sentiment is obviously bullish. Why? Because we have already cultivated higher high and then higher lows there, right? So we got higher lows, higher highs in the intermediate term. So this may be the cultivation of intermediate term up or intermediate term higher low. If that's the case, then that means we're going to continue to you know, cultivate, continue to establish that intermediate term uptrend. There, obviously, we don't have to talk about primary term. We've been talking about primary term. You know, primary term is still in a bullish uptrend. I don't know why there's so many people talking about they were in a downtrend, we're in a bear market. I don't understand that kind of a comments. Why people say it? Why are we in a bearish market? We're not in bearish market. If anything, if you want to put any kind of bearish connotation, we may have some kind of topping pattern here potentially. You know what I'm saying? But we had a topping pattern here that never played out. You know, people are saying that this was potential topping pattern that never played out. The topping pattern can be formed, but without, you know, it getting confirmed or substantiating by the price action, it just really means nothing. And to me, this does not look like a topping pattern at all. That to me looks more like, you know, something like this, just something more like a lot of volatility that we see in 2004, 2015, or 2014 and 2015. It looks like that there was some concerning signals, but what it looks like to me is just buyers kind of getting ready to resume to back its primary term uptrend there. I do want to talk about weekly chart because weekly chart is very, very important. Looking at a weekly chart sentiment here, let me go back here. The candles are important, right? So looking at the weekly chart candles, obviously we've been just grinding here, but this is a level that was important. This is a level that was important. I think my last video we talked about this right here. This is a very, very important level that we need to hold, right? Because it's an important pivot. What's pivot? It means it acted as a, you know, support or resistance in the past. It's a pivot. It hits that level, the price, you know, it fluctuates, right? It was resistance then, and then it became a strong support, and then it was resistance recently, and then now back, flipping back support. You can see that, and now, you know, you can see that we have flipped back, and then we're seeing a little bit bullish candle there. So this was an important level to hold, and we are currently holding that level. So that's a good sign there. Not only that, looking at the, you know, more of a weekly chart, weekly term moving averages are concerned, you know, we're trying to get back above these moving averages. You know, 100 SMA, we're above that 100 SMA. You know, again, last time, if we just kind of look back, what happened back in 2011, right? You know, very, very pretty similar price action here back in 2011. We got up, pulled back, we're close to that weekly 100 simple moving average, right there. So this is where we bounced, got up, came down, and then we started cultivating what? That strong bullish uptrend that lasted for almost 4 years. So very, very similar action here. We got up, pulling back, we got pretty close to that weekly 100 SMA, and potentially we're getting ready to get back up here. If you're a bear, if you're a seller here on the S&P 500, obviously, you know, you want to see about 190 and 200, and we've been talking about the 200 level, and there's something that I talked about in the last video, that 200 is probably going to be the ultimate level, that is probably the must hold level for the buyers, and we held that level. So anywhere below this level, again, it's one of those things that, you know, something that you have to understand when you're trying to short the market while it's in a bullish uptrend. You can't just go short just because it got slightly below this support. What you need to see is you need to see this thing coming below and then going back up, retesting it, and then getting rejected. That's what you want to see. In that process, what it does is it continues to cultivate lower highs. This is where a lot of people get slaughtered, a lot of people get whipsawed, a lot of people get really, really irritated for them because they would try to go short right here because it broke their support. Or a lot of people have their stops right here. Just below this one, they all get stopped out on their long positions, and then when markets start getting back up, they're just really, really pissed off, or they got stopped out here, and then they go back long here, and then they get stopped out again, and then they go, you know what I'm saying? Just up and down, up and down. Every time they do something, market does separate. You know, market does completely opposite. I'm sure you guys been there. Give some leniency on your stops, and you know, understand the perspective, not just in a minor term perspective, but intermediate term, because minor term is crazy. It's crazy, right? People who understand intermediate term perspective and primary term perspective are the only ones surviving in this market. And if you're just, you know, just looking at this very, very closely, like every tick by tick, and looking at and just over analyzing every single candle, it's just gonna drive you mad. You probably want to pull your hair out. You know what I'm saying? And so again, market looks like we got some good minor term, micro term, you know, buying force here with you know, double bottom island reversal type of thing happening, but that won't be confirmed. Again, I'm not just going to say that's it's going to be confirmed. I want to see substantiation from the price section. I want to see this thing reclaiming 208. If we can claim 208, and that's not enough. Just reclaiming it 208 is not enough. We need to hold above 208. And if we can do that, then I believe that we can get up, come back, retest, old resistance, new support, and then continuing, and if we can get above 210, this is where I believe that buyers are going to you know, declare victory, and we're probably going to see some bullish action going into next year, at least until you know, early summer, looking at the S&P 500 there. Let me just go through quickly on some of the, you know, hot stocks where people are watching. Let me first go to Apple here. I know a lot of people are very, very interested in Apple. There's a lot of talks about Apple, you know, there's a lot of talks about Apple potentially be crashing again. But let's look at, you know, more like a daily chart here, putting a Fibonacci here. We've gotten kind of slightly below to 50%. Currently, obviously, we're still in a bearish perspective. We're more of a neutral to bearish now, neutral in an intermediate term, because of the fact that we lost these two levels, okay? So we're in a neutral to bearish sentiment, the minor intermediate term. Obviously, bearish sentiment intermediate term. What we are really dealing with right now is potentially, you know, potential primary term uptrend. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. Let me go to line chart. Okay, so now this level is also, should I go to weekly chart? Let me go to weekly chart first. I want to see how the weekly chart is holding up here. Yeah, so currently we actually broken below this support, and so that does not look good. That's not, so this is where things are starting to look, you know, things are starting to not look good for Apple here. So this is where I would have to say that we lose any of these Fibonacci level. I mean, for this to really turn things around, a lot has happened in Apple. I mean, this would have to come back here, you know, come back down, and then do something like this. Okay, then that will potentially form inverted head and shoulder. I mean, again, I can't say that as of today that's what's going to happen. What it looks like currently, though, it looks like some kind of a bear flag, but before continuing lower, we got all these moving averages coming down. We got 50 coming down, 20, 100, 10 EMAs, all these movements coming down. We have this bearish, you know, this resistance there. So Apple is just trying to really look very, very bearish here, in my opinion. This head and shoulder is crazy. But we've been seeing some crazy things happen in the market, so that potentially play out now. But I still want to, if you ask my question, what I will do here is I still want to give one last chance, because the market is bullish. I think because there's potentially market is potentially be heading into a bullish territory, getting back into uptrend going into next year, potentially towards the end of this year. So I want to give potentially, you know, Apple following the market, but things are starting to look more bearish on Apple. Apple is just not doing so good, and there's a lot of fear in the market still. So I would have to say I stay kind of one of those situations where it's this dire, kind of we're getting into the dire situation. and we lost this low, so this could potentially be that lower high. However, we just talked about this, how market loves to do this, or we just talked about an S&P 500 where there's support, there a lot of got stopped out here, a lot of people trying to short this, and then market tends to, you know what I mean, that's how market creates traps. You don't talk about traps, that's how market does it. So for market to really turn this thing around, for Apple to turn this around, obviously first things first, we need to get at least gap back up and reclaim all these moving averages. But it seems like it's a difficult task here at this moment. So Apple is actually starting to look more and more bearish. Would have to see if we can at least gap back above 112 here, buy if you want to see Apple do well. I think that's the first level that you want to see Apple get up and then pull back and then do something like that, something similar in that perspective. But if we start to get up here and then get rejected, or even if this comes down and then gets rejected from here and then makes new low, I think this is where we would have to try to get out of Apple. That's right, this right about here, because then we are starting to cultivate lower highs there, and this is already lower low. So this is a last level. If we cannot sustain 105-ish level, I think Apple might be done. So we might have one last chance. And one other thing about it is we do have one last chance as far as a weekly 100 SMA is concerned. This might be the only savior for Apple, right? So you can see that weekly 100 SMA. Let me get rid of those crap. So this is a weekly chart. We're looking at a weekly chart in Apple here. And you just follow this weekly 100 SMA there. This has been strong pivot in the past. You remember, you can see that use resistance here, resistance to flip back, become support, support here, support there. You see that little guy right here, that little guy, support right there. And then when this thing came back down, when it tanked, it was the weekly 100. So people started buying once you get to this level here. It's not like everybody's watching this weekly 100 SMA. It's just people's a certain instinct that once we get to certain level of pullback, they think that it might be a good value to buy Apple, like certain people. So then that's what we're seeing, the dip buyers coming in this vicinity. So because we saw dip buyers here, we saw here, here, and here on that that close to that weekly 100 SMA, and we're potentially forming little tiny guy right there, very similar look to that. So that might be the last hope for Apple. That might be the last hope for Apple, and potentially bring it back up. We got a lot of work to do though, but we would have to, again, I can't just say that this guy's gonna bring it up. I need to see some substantiation from the price action before I conclude anything from there. So let's look at it. I'll try to update you guys on it, and then we'll go from there. Let's look at Tesla here. I haven't been trading Tesla at all for a really longest time, and I've been telling you guys I wouldn't want to trade this for a while. And because this is one of those things that we have this downtrend, and it's struggling here, and I don't, we may have some kind of a rising channel type of deal, but that looks more like a bear flag, right? It looks like a bear flag here. If this thing loses, we can continue lower. And so again, looking at more of a big picture on Tesla here, this is not the time to trade this, or not the time to get into it if you want to hold things more longer term. You want to trade this couple days here, swing trade here and there, maybe a week or so, then yeah, you can find your setups here and there, but you want to play this more of a long-term price. I don't think this is time to get into Tesla. If you want to invest in it, or if you want to trade this for 6 months, a year, right now is not the time. I think you should just let it go and see how it plays out. And still in this kind of weird looking channel type of deal here, we can get stuck here for a while. But again, with the intermediate term downtrend cultivation, definitely there's a bearish connotation happening in the intermediate term. Minor term, we've just been zigzagging. So and then we hit this level currently. We're just trying to get back up, or get back down here. And then if we lose these moving averages here, probably back at 225 or so, potentially we get back down to about 221, because we potentially have this rising uptrend support. So we're kind of stuck here. This isn't, I wouldn't want to do anything to do with it right now. Let's look at Facebook. Facebook continues to be holding up very, very well here, despite the fact that the market's condition. We have a well-established high lows and higher highs here. Again, this is not the time. Is this time to hold things? This is not the time to, you know, make your investment decision. I don't think. I mean, I really don't like going long here after this kind of move. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to go long, maybe when it retested 100 SMA here, you know what I mean? It's like people always get fearful when it pulls back. This is where people get fearful, but there's a brave ones that who buys in this vicinity and they profit. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. I've been talking about on S&P 500 and the market, right? Sometimes go for it. When the pullback happens, obviously you're just not gonna guess. You gotta understand when the bounce is happening. Look at your candlesticks, look at your moving averages, look at your charts, look at your pivot levels, and then once you retest certain levels, this might have been a good level to go long. Once respected here, you know, things like that. And then, I mean, this is probably a good level here. It was a resistance became support. Maybe this is a good level to go long there, but here, no. But it does look like some kind of a bull flag here. If market continue, this could continue grind higher. You know, a little bit of like a target analysis, a little bit of measure move. You know, it doesn't always play out, but I mean that's a good tool to kind of, you know, you can kind of measure this right here. And if this thing breaks out, you can give you a certain perspective that we may see this kind of move again, and that could give you to about 118, 115 or so on Facebook. Let's look at what else should we look at? Amazon. Amazon, very, very similar price action here, like Facebook here, continuing to holding up well, higher lows, higher highs. Again, this is we're just grinding on this 1020 MA. We're getting slightly below that, but you know, this could be certain head and shoulders. I'm not sure, but again, the formation can happen, but you need to see, you know, if you want to go short on Amazon, don't go just because it gets below that. Go when it goes up, retest these supports, and when it gets rejected. This is when you want to go short. Some of these levels right here, when it gets rejected, in that perspective, in that process, what it does is it creates lower highs there. So I wouldn't just want to short right now. Yeah, again, in the 50 MA is coming up, so this level can act as support here. So not too attractive looking for sure, but looks like, again, looking at more like a weekly term though, looks like the 10 MA on the weekly charts continue to act as support. So you can see that 10, if 10 doesn't act as support, 20 definitely act as support. So it's as long as we continue in that trend, you know, who knows how long it's going to continue. It's probably going to continue as long as the market is bullish. But this is not my setup. Like after Amazon's been bullish like this, that's not where I want to go long unless this thing retests that 100 SMA. Then I might want to go long right here, right? This was a good level to go long and hold your position for several months there, and then, you know, close about 50% or so. That would have been a good trade. But going long here up here is not looking. But you know, looks like if you've been holding your long, looks like you know, looks like it's holding up well rather here. But 1020 MA, see if that level gets hold. What else do we got? We did what? Apple, Tesla, Facebook. Let's look at Google. So Google's also, you know, very, very similar to these other tech sector we've been just looking at here. Looks a lot like Amazon, right? Looks a lot like Amazon here, but that 50 MA is currently acting as support right there. Again, it's more kind of a, it's more important to look at a weekly chart. You can see it on a weekly that 10 EMA is acting as support. If we lose that 10 EMA, watch for 20, right? That's a 20 right there. Last time we lost 10 EMA, the 20 acted as support, and then we lost 10 EMA, 20 acted as support. So if we lose that 10, then look at the 20 on the weekly chart, right? So that's, again, benefit that continues to go to the buyers. All these charts that we just looked at, Facebook, Facebook, Amazon, Google, all the benefit that continues to go to the buyers. Lastly, let's look at Netflix. You know, Netflix actually, you know, so I talked about last time, I didn't want to go long here. I talked about how, you know, I don't want to go long up here. I like to see this thing retesting this vicinity. And again, you know what, I would actually watch Netflix here. This might be a good setup for some of you guys that, you can see that this is a pivot, right? It was resistance. We break out. So what happened that time is when it breaks out, it may pull back. If it does pull back, you want to see this thing what? Retesting and getting back up. And this is potentially a good level of entry here. Maybe you want to see this thing getting above 124 or so. And then once it does it, maybe that's the level of a good entry there. Then you can confirm this bounce there. and then we have cultivated that higher high there. We already have higher lows. So if this thing gets up here, that will be another cultivation high low. That means we're gonna continue in this primary term uptrend and intermediate term also. So actually Netflix is starting to, I would say Netflix is kind of a more attractive to go long once we see that bounce. Not at Facebook, not Amazon, not Google, but Netflix actually does look attractive here. But again, we can't just guess that we're gonna bounce here because who knows, right? So we want to see this thing getting back up. I would say, reclaiming 124.16, holding above it for about a few days or so before thinking about going long. Actually, two more. Let's look at healthcare sector. I've been talking about this quite some time. I actually written an article on it and give you guys plenty of deep analysis on this. And this is right here, right? That's the level you want this. We have inverted head and shoulders. We've been just grinding in this vicinity for some time. You want to see this thing getting above 73 level. Again, just going up is not enough. We need this to get up at 73, hold above it at least a few days before going back long here. Remember I talked about, just recently, not recently, in this video, not recently, when do you want to go long, right? Do you want to go long up here? Do you want to go long down here when it pulls back, right? When do you want to go long? When do you want to go long? That's the problem. That's the thing about it is, do you rather go long up here or do you rather go long down here? Down here, but it's tough to go long down here. Why? Because there's a fear pull. It's tough to go long here. Why? Because you feel like there's so much greed. You don't know when it's gonna, when this thing is gonna just continue to roll and it's gonna tank again. So what you need to do is you need to just not go long and try to guess it. You want to see a bounce and you want to see a cultivation and then go long. And then if you did that, you could milk this thing for a while. And then for the longest time, you lost your chance and now we pull back hard. So now this is your chance. This is your chance, right? I mean, are we going to just guess it and go long here? No, we're not going to guess it. What we're going to see is, let's first see a cultivation. We have a certain cultivation. We got these lows. We need these lows to become higher lows and higher highs, right? And then the trend resume back up, right? So that's what we want to see. You want to see this thing getting back above, hold above it, and then you can go long there. Boston Scientific, and I'll close this video. Boston Scientific, continue to hold. This is one of those things that when do you want to go long on Boston Scientific? We've been long since, where is it? We've been long on Boston Scientific. That's the thing about it is I practice what I preach is that do you want to go long up here or do you want to go long after it pulls back, right? When do you want to go long? That's always the question, right? So I went long here. I closed out here. And then I went back long here, and I'm still holding it. So when do you want to go long? A pullback. Always wait for a pullback and then go long. Boston Scientific looks like we may be waiting for another run to the upside. I wrote a blog about it. I've been tweeting about it. You can see we have a well-cultivated primary term uptrend here. This is a primary term uptrend right there, and we may continue in that to the upside. This is important level we needed to hold. We held that level, right? Resistance, strong pivot. Kind of like an awkward looking inverted head and shoulder maybe. And you could also draw the neckline here. And that was important level. You can see that last time we pulled back, we precisely hit that level and we're bouncing back up. So let's zoom in here real quick and see what it looks like today. Just last few days here. You can see that a lot of volatility happened, but we held this level. Finally, we waited until it got back to 50. You think this is a coincidence that we bouncing at 50 MA? No, it's not. It's just that people who bought it down here, okay, they rebuying it. When it came down, they start buying it up again. That's why these moving averages work. People who doesn't understand how technical analysis work. Oh, just because you threw a moving average, just because you threw these lines, you think it's gonna have a support. That's not the point. The point is, it's a psychological level where there could be these dip buyers coming in and they're not looking at moving averages, they're not looking at support levels, so they're just going by their instinct. I'm like, oh, last time I bought it here after this kind of pullback, I made some money. Oh, we got a little pullback, I'm gonna buy a little bit more. And then that's why market continues to respect these supports and resistance, right? And that's why these moving averages are very, very important. That's why technical analysis is a very, very valuable tool if you know how to use it. There's so many people who just have this fallacy on how to use technical analysis, right? So anyway, that's it for me, guys. Let me just have a quick look on S&P 500 and then we'll call it a day. We are still kind of holding up here and we just want to see, if you're a buyer here, if you're a bull, you want to see this gap getting holding and sustaining and continuing up here. So, well, Merry Christmas, everyone, and thank you for listening to today's market commentary Christmas special edition. I'm gonna be busy weekend, so I don't know. I'm probably not gonna do a video or tweet or anything until next week. So I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend, with long weekend with your family, your friends, and hey, you know what? When it comes to the holiday, it doesn't matter how your portfolio is doing, right? Get rid of that and just enjoy your time with your family and friends. Market is always gonna have a shenanigan every day. It's just never ending. It's never ending, right? So it's just not even worth it. It's not even worth thinking about you're having dinner with your family and friends. It's like, oh my God, my Apple position is not doing so well, so I'm so grouchy. I'm so pissed off, or the market hasn't been so so volatile, so stupid, and I'm pissed off. I'm grouchy. I'm mean to everybody. You know what? Market is gonna do what it's gonna do. It's like, even if you worry about it, is it gonna help? It's not gonna help. I might also just forget about it and let it do what it do. I mean, and just let it sort it out. That's the thing about it, is this is a market. It's been very, very volatile. So you must understand not just minor term, because minor term sentiment changes so quickly. It is so difficult to stay or have a faith in the minor term analysis, because it betrays you all the time. Don't be obsessed with the minor term analysis, minor term fluctuations, but rather, be faithful in primary term uptrend, right? Be faithful and give your, give benefit doubt to the buyers if we're in an uptrend, right? I say this a lot. The trend is assumed to be in effect until it gives us a clear signal that it has been reversed. It has not been reversed. It has not been reversed. There's always a concerning signal. People have been calling market crash last 3 years, and market kept going higher. If anything, if you know what I'm saying, if the market wasn't gonna do anything, this was it. This is where they could have done it. They lower high. This is a bearish chance right here. That bearish, that shooting star right there. This is where they should have done it and take out this low. Boom, bang, boom. Then we had a market crash. It's too late now. Again, anything can happen, obviously, in the market, but as far as the probability is concerned, we have already cultivated intermediate and higher lows here, right? And so benefit of the Dow goes to the buyers for now in the intermediate term. But in a minor term, we have a bearish sentiment. But it's minor term. Remember what I just said. Minor terms, we cannot put too much weight on the minor term, because it betrays you so quickly. It looks like we're going to have an island reversal. It looks like it's going to go to the moon, and then it betrayed you. Didn't it? It betrayed the buyers. It betrayed the bulls. It looks like that was a strong with the hammer and volume and island reversal. Boom. And then we got what? All of a sudden we got sell-off, and then we had another island reversal. And then we look like this is going to be like, oh my goodness, market is going to go 185. Fill this gap, right? With another island reversal here, a bearish engulfing pattern, and a huge bearish. Look at the volume on this thing. And then it betrays you again. Boom, 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 and gap back up. Right? It betrays you. And why do you want to be betrayed? So somebody like me, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what you do in a minor term. I mean, I'll look at it and see what it's like. But hey, as long as we stay in a certain Fibonacci retracement level, I'm going to give benefit out to the buyers in the intermediate term. That's why I've been tweeting out these Fibonacci FRZ levels. These levels are potential support levels. As long as we stay in that vicinity, it would have to give benefit out to the intermediate term buyers. But it's the first level that we're finding support here. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens, tomorrow, next week, before we can conclude that minor term sentiment has changed, right? So have a great night. Have a great weekend. Again, thank you for your support. Thank you for following me on Twitter and StockTwits and Facebook and Google Plus, and following me on my blog. It's man, like last time, it's been a while since I was nobody, and then with my article back in September 2012 with that's summer of 2012 when my blog was open. So my blog was around only like 3 years, But I just thank you very much for everyone who, you know, been emailing me. There's such a nice people who's been actually like mailing me, shipping me like nice gift and stuff like that to my office. That's very generous of you guys. It really is. And you know, I really don't know you personally since we're in this internet world, but appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And let's all make money together going into next year. I do think that personally next year is gonna be a good year. I know we have an election coming, so I would have to kind of, you know, do a more research on that. But at least early next year, I think we're gonna do well. So we'll go from there. So again, have a good night. I'll talk to you guys later.